when I say stuck, what does that mean to you? Do you ever feel like no matter what you do, you're stuck repeating the same patterns? I was stuck in a cycle of self-loathing and self-hatred using food as my comfort. At 320 pounds, I hated everything about myself. I felt unworthy, unlovable. I truly believed that I was living the life that I deserved. I settled for less in relationships, in jobs, in life, because I thought that's all that I was worth. What I didn't understand were that these cycles weren't just my own. They were part of my family's story. My father was overseas in the Army during my earliest years, setting into motion abandonment issues that would follow me into adulthood. Even when he was home, he wasn't truly present. One of my earliest memories is being at the hospital after one of my mom's suicide attempts. I was just 3. It's hard for a child to understand why their parents aren't present, especially when they are actively seeking their way out. Chaos took over after my parents divorced when I was 6, and my mom struggled with mental illness and tried to kill herself multiple times. Our neighbor, Mr. Clark, showed her compassion and stopped her. I can still see him holding the knife that he had taken from her as he walked with her to a waiting police car. That kind of trauma sticks with you. It changes your soul. As life settled down, the stage was set for years of emotional warfare. I was yelled at nightly, caught between intense conflicts and trying to keep the peace. Unknowingly, I accepted the role of caretaker, focusing on everyone else as I was being ignored. That's when I turned to food for comfort. I would sneak food, I'd ride my bike to buy candy, I would drive to get fast food, anything for relief from the chaos. Food became my refuge, a way to silence the pain of being overlooked and taken for granted. As a teen, I developed an eating disorder because I thought if I were thin and pretty, I would finally feel loved. That, of course, wasn't true, and it kept me stuck. I had no idea that all of this, avoidance, manipulation, mental abuse, self-hatred, it was inherited, just like my blue eyes. Generational cycles are real, patterns our parents weren't ever aware of. But acceptance is the first step in breaking free. In my 30s, my father passed, and we were essentially strangers. At that same time, I would go weeks without speaking to my mother, though we lived 5 miles apart. I knew that I didn't want my relationship with her to end in the same way, so I began therapy to repair it. Therapy showed me that while I was running from my family's pain, I was hiding from my own healing. And I know there are people here that can relate and have generational cycles that need to be broken, right? Yep. In therapy, I talked about working 3 jobs, sitting on my condo board, having no time for anything, no real friends to speak of, no family interaction, except for my niece and nephew who loved me for me. Everyone else's love in my family came with terms attached. I used busyness as avoidance. No one could hurt me if I wasn't available. The only thing that I made time for was food. Deeper into therapy, though, I had to accept a hard truth, that I was the common thread in every situation. So I reached out for more help from Maria, and I didn't take the process seriously at first, but it kept showing up. Then came something so simple, yet so difficult. It was the I love you challenge. I had to look in the mirror and say, I love you, Melissa. I couldn't even look myself in the eye. But little by little, I said it, and one day, I meant it. Loving and accepting myself was the first step in breaking these cycles, and I began to understand that the self-hatred and emotional eating were symptoms of much deeper wounds. My epiphany came the day after Christmas a decade ago at 10:30 in the morning. I was sitting on the couch alone with half a gallon of ice cream in my lap, eating it straight out of the carton, pouring chocolate syrup on top of it. I stopped and I asked myself, what are you doing? Seriously, what are you doing? I knew that things had to change, but my real journey began, not just to lose weight, but to heal from the inside out. I quickly learned it wasn't the physical weight that I needed to shed, it was also the emotional weight of my past. Abandonment, peacekeeping, constant caretaking, feeling ignored, that left deep scars. Food was my escape, but as I worked through my healing journey, I began to see my wounds very clearly. I was unlearning the lies that I had believed for so long, the lie that I was unworthy of love. Think about it. How often do we all carry our past into our present, believing it defines who we are, that we're stuck with no way out? In my 40s, as I was beginning to truly love and accept myself, life happened. I became the primary caregiver for my stepfather and my mother, navigating my own healing while caring for them in their decline. Elder care is not for the faint of heart. And though I continued to make progress, I also turned to food for comfort as I helplessly watched them close out their final chapters. My stepfather's last words to me were, "Don't give up on your weight loss or your dreams." And his words have stayed with me, reminding me that this journey is ongoing. There's always work to be done. My real breakthrough came a couple weeks after my mother's passing, just shy of my 50th birthday. It was a Sunday afternoon. I had just finished a workout with Maria. Normally, I would rush to her facility to have dinner with her. But for the first time in my life, I had nowhere to be, and I had no one to take care of. In the truest sense of the words, it was Melissa time. I had to rebuild my life for me. The only expectations I needed to meet were my own. Today, I continue my journey of self-love and acceptance, and I make time for journaling and gratitude every day. I remind myself that the number on the scale doesn't define me, and that every version of me is worthy of love. I have lost 130 pounds naturally. And yes, I still have more to go. But it isn't about a magical number on the scale. It's about becoming the healthiest and happiest me I can be and loving every version of myself inside and out. So my message tonight is simple. Don't give up. Growth doesn't come from perfection. It comes from showing up for yourself every single day. It isn't about reaching a destination. It's about breaking cycles, learning to love yourself, and showing up for your goals. Every step you take is a step toward your dreams. I am living proof that you too can break free, love and accept yourself, healing the things that have kept you stuck. Now, I do invite you to take the next step with me. On your seat, there was a flyer with all of my contact information. As part of this event, I'm offering a special opportunity to anyone who's ready to break their cycles and get unstuck. Whether it's through our book, coaching, or simply following along on social media, I am here to support you in creating the life that you deserve. Thank you.